One of the biggest real estate websites besides Zillow is going to be Redfin. Now, everyone loves Redfin. They have a lot of real estate reports. They write a lot of real estate articles and topics. And Redfin is saying that San Francisco is showing first signs of serious potential housing market collapse. And one of the biggest things about San Francisco that makes it super unique is, one, it is like a S tier grade city. It's supposed to be America's tech capital, but at the same time, the property recovery rates and the recovery rates of office workers is the slowest in the country, and also is home to the Walgreens that gets robbed the most in the entire country. That's probably not the records that you want for a city. Now, if you go across Oakland, it's same thing. Car theft is actually like number one in the entire country. I think San Francisco is like number two in the entire country. Stuff that you just don't want to have. So Redfin announced on Wednesday that home sellers in San Francisco are now 4 times more likely than the average U.S. home seller to take a loss. Now, Redfin pretty much said that San Francisco real estate is so bad, it's worse than markets like Seattle, Los Angeles, and Chicago, which have all faced some of the biggest price cuts. But even those markets and those cities already have neighborhoods and buildings that have recovering prices. But San Francisco, if you go in like Zillow, for example, you won't find a single unit that has recovered in price. In fact, most of these units are still being overlisted in price. And you could probably negotiate 20, 30, 40, even 50% off. And many of these sellers will likely agree. In fact, the average like hotel slash retail slash office building is being sold for like at least 40% off to upwards of 80% off. It's absolutely crazy. It just doesn't make any sense. And we're seeing this situation in San Francisco unfold. And honestly, people like San Francisco real estate. A lot of people do want to invest in it, but they just don't really want to invest in it when it looks like this 24/7. I mean, San Francisco is so bad to the point that they actually have to build a fence just to keep out the homeless encampments and pretty much homeless people. I mean, it's pretty sad at the same time because you do see that this is what the city does. But at the same time, the city is just cool with people just sleep on the streets. Now, they should just do what San Diego does. I said this multiple times. San Diego banned tent encampments, but they have designated areas for tent encampments, and they actually have money from the small businesses because businesses actually stay in San Diego right now because they're actually protecting small businesses. And San Diego is using a lot of the money to help the homeless people and people who are in need. But San Francisco actually, pretty much, the judge in the past few days agreed that homeless encampment sweeps are now super illegal. Meaning there could be like 5 tents in front of your apartment complex and you can't do anything about it, which pretty much means not only is it pretty dangerous, but also your property value goes down. And of course, if you're like, let's say a bakery shop owner, you have a bakery shop and then suddenly like 5 tents pop up in front of your store, well, good luck, right? No one's going to go to your bakery and you're eventually going to shut down, call city services, they won't do anything. And I don't know why it's such a crazy topic. I just don't like having tents, and people who are addicted to drugs on the streets. It's really not that of a crazy idea. It's not crazy. Like, am I crazy? I don't think so. So this is why people are leaving San Francisco. A lot of people just don't want to talk about it. They're like, oh, you'll get canceled by saying this. But like, come on. Just having a bunch of tents on the sidewalk next to like buildings and stuff is not the way to do things. And that's exactly why people are just leaving the city. This is why big tech cities are just struggling right now. Like even Seattle, they are fighting homelessness right now as well. And they're a major tech city. For some reason, these tech cities are just not performing as well as places like Las Vegas or Miami. Now, if you look at Oakland, it looks like this. Okay, this is terrible. This should not exist in America. San Francisco's downtown, just random tents. People just high all the time. That should not be a thing, right? They should really clean it up. And this is what's really affecting the housing situation. This is why housing prices are so cheap, because you don't want to buy like a luxury condo in a place where there's just like crack and fentanyl everywhere, right? I mean, that's just how it is. And this is why apartment construction in Silicon Valley and basically all the Bay Area is now grinding to a halt. And if you just look at San Francisco's real estate, just a couple years ago, they were building like almost 2,000 condos / apartments a year. This year so far, they only built like 1 or 200. And that just shows you that construction is down 80 to 90%, with some of the biggest construction projects being halted. Like One Oak, right, reportedly has gone foreclosure, and they haven't even broken ground. They have the land, but they don't want it. They're about to build a 40-story tower, and they've said no. Hayes Point is a 47-story tower, and Hayes Point is also giving the land back to its owner. Nema, a luxury tower in San Francisco. This is by far one of the biggest catalysts so far for the year. Is they may go into foreclosure of a $400 million loan, and this is actually a luxury apartment skyscraper in San Francisco, right next to the X headquarters, or Twitter, what do you want to call it. It used to be next to Uber, Lyft, and Block, but those guys have left, and I think Reddit is trying to relocate their headquarters as well. So all the tech employees that were supposed to stay here are now leaving, and it absolutely sucks. It's just like the city conditions are just super bad for San Francisco, and worst thing is like not a lot of things are being done about it, right? I mean, you just have just tents everywhere. I mean, this is supposed to be our number one tech city. Look at other tech cities like Shenzhen, China, right? Look at Tokyo, Japan, Singapore, Sydney, Australia. You won't see any tents like this, right? And this is what happens when it just get too radically left. This sort of stuff just happens. Just tents everywhere. The city just doesn't care. What's worse is the city doesn't care about the small businesses anyway, and the small businesses are actually leaving in droves. Walk down Market Street in San Francisco. Seriously, just walk down Market Street. You're going to be seeing more vacant stores than stores are open. And Market Street is supposed to be the street where everyone is fighting for a storefront. I mean, pre-pandemic, the vacancy rate for the offices was less than 1%. Everyone wanted a front retail store in San Francisco. It was guaranteeing money because of the insane foot traffic. And there were like almost 100,000 office employees that traveled to San Francisco every single day just to work. And with all these people coming in, obviously San Francisco is always packed. Every store makes money. No matter what store you open up on Market Street in San Francisco's downtown, you're going to be making good money because of so much foot traffic and so many tourists. But now tourism is dead. Even the Chinese tourist is avoiding San Francisco like a plague. Back in 2018, Chinese tourists gave San Francisco about $1.2 billion. That's a lot of people with 500,000 Chinese tourists visiting San Francisco. Guess what? San Francisco, if you go to the Chinese blogging sites in China, they actually place San Francisco on like the dead bottom. This is by far the worst cities they've said they ever went to. They said the homelessness is so crazy that it's pretty crazy to see that this is America. That's what they said. And it sucks, right? This is supposed to be our tech capital. And like I said before, even hotels are being returned back. Charles Schwab is cutting down on San Francisco office space. I think a lot of companies are just leaving San Francisco. They do see that the energy of the city is no longer there. Why spend crazy high rent on it? And now there's just other cities where there's just so much more tech, like Austin. You got a lot of tech energy, right? Miami used to be hospitality and beaches. Now it's finance and tech. Same thing in Las Vegas. It's Sin City. It's gambling. But now there's big tech companies moving to Las Vegas because of the close proximity to California. They could still do good business and still connect with California, but it's Las Vegas. It's pretty lit. So you do see what's going on, a massive shift. And this is not great for San Francisco, and it's only getting worse, guys. One of the biggest malls in San Francisco has closed down. And I think a lot of bad things are still going to come. Let's see what happens. Hopefully San Francisco recovers, but right now, it's not great.